To another episode of the Cash Physical Therapy podcast. Today we're going to be talking about Facebook ads. Our clients, since working with us, have averaged over $190,000 generated from Facebook ads at over a 6x return on their ad spend since working with us. And so Facebook ads are insanely profitable when ran correctly in the cash physical therapy space, especially for cash physical therapists. And something that's funny is that when we offer done for you services, and when we offer our clients done for you services, the vast majority of them aren't even remotely interested because they know one thing. It's that running Facebook ads profitably, we're talking over a 6 return on your investment, which is substantially better than any investment vehicle you could possibly find elsewhere. They know how easy it actually is once you actually learn how to do this. And so what Ben and I are going to be unpacking here today is around a post that people have been messaging me, laughing about for the last week, of basically an agency who was talking about how no practice owner should ever learn to run their own Facebook ads. And so today, I want to demystify what running your own Facebook ads actually, or Ben and I want to demystify what it actually takes to run your own successful and profitable Facebook ads in-house, and then compare and contrast that with hiring out to an agency, someone who's going to actually do it for you. So today we're going to break down like the reality of running Facebook ads and when it actually makes sense to hand off your ads, because the reality is, for most people, it really doesn't make a lot of sense, and it's just kicking a can down the road and kind of shooting yourself in the foot if you hire someone else to do it. So lots to talk about here today. If you have questions around running Facebook ads, make sure to drop them. And if you get value out of this, as always, make sure that you subscribe to the channel, like the page, and if you have someone that you know that would get value out of this podcast, make sure you invite them. Ben, how you feeling today, man?
Doing good. I'm excited for this one because I've actually fallen in this trap. This is actually before I met you, Jordan. I hired an agency to run my Facebook ads, and it was a nightmare. And so I think it's going to be exciting and eye-opening topic, and hopefully just prevent other people from falling in the same trap and mistake that I did. So yeah, I'm kind of curious what you feel like is a typical horror story, and like what on average what happens when somebody does actually work with an agency and what you've seen.
Well, it's I'm going to answer that with just like the reality of running an agency, because I ran an agency in the physical therapy space for a number of years, and I hated it because of the economics of it don't actually make sense. And so instead of sharing like horror stories, because there are good agencies out there, it's just who you hire and when you hire them that truly matters and determines the ultimate success of the outcome. But let me explain to all of you the economics of running an agency, particularly in the physical therapy space. For the vast majority of practices, they're at that kind of like $5,000 per month to $30,000 to $40,000 a month range. Most of them are actually substantially lower than that. But let's just say like that is the average. And for them to hiring an agency is going to cost around $1,000 to $1,500 a month. And for many people, that is like hardly worth it in and of itself. That's a pretty heavy price tag given all the other expenses that a business has. And so what we found is like charging anything more than that, it's hard to get to work with some of the newer practice owners where we got a lot of our passion from. And so at the price point where running an agency actually makes sense and where it's a healthy, thriving business, we'd have to charge a price point that would exclude many of the practices that we enjoy working with the most, the ones who are just kind of learning this whole entrepreneurial thing, right? And so when you are charging a low enough price point to work with them, that $1,000 to $1,500 price point, we of course need more customers to be able to have a healthy business where we're also getting paid. So because we're charging less and have more customers, that means each customer gets less of our time and attention, which is why a lot of people, when they hire an agency, they're like, oh, great, so I'm going to run my Facebook ads for $500, $1,000, $1,500 a month. They're excited and they're promised the moon. Most of the time, they get pretty lackluster results because the reality of behind the scenes in that agency, they don't have the manpower or the resources to dedicate the amount of time that's necessary to make sure that you get long-term results within your Facebook ads. It's just the economics of the business. And in fact, the companies that are out there that are teaching people how to start their own Facebook ads agencies, we've all seen them. Everyone that fails in running their own their own cash practice suddenly becomes a marketing expert that knows how to run Facebook ads, even though their practice probably wouldn't have shut down if that was the case. The agencies that are teaching, or the companies and coaching companies that are teaching these people how to run Facebook ads, and what is standard is that agencies should expect to lose their clients every 3 to 4 months. That is what is taught across the board in agencies for how long you should expect to retain a customer. And here's why. It's because most agencies, they have a very templated approach. And when they first onboard a client, that approach works right out of the gate because Facebook wants to make people successful at first. And the problem is once that campaign, that cookie cutter campaign starts to fatigue and slow down for the agency, it becomes more economically sound. It's more cost effective to find a new customer to copy and paste that template into than it is to actually provide and make service that existing campaign. And so that's why we hear these nightmare stories of people working with agencies who are churning every 3 to 4 months, where they're promised the moon, but then after 4 months, they're just wasting a bunch of money. And so that's why the agency model, it just sucks the life out of me, because personally, when I work with someone and they believe in me and they put their faith in me, that means something to me. And I get to know those people and I like them and I want them to succeed because I know what's actually at stake. It's not about how much money they're making. It's about the kind of life they're able to create for themselves and their families. And so that business model didn't sit well with me. And that's why agencies, unless they're charging a higher amount, that $3,000 to $5,000 a month range, they typically don't have the resources to be able to get you the kind of results that actually make it worth it. And so that's why most people, like, you hear all these bad stories about agencies, because they're actually taught at the highest level from the top people in the world at running Facebook agencies is that you should only retain your client for 3 to 4 months because it is cheaper for you to just find a new customer than it is to get them results long term, which is absolutely madness. You said you worked with an agency. What does that kind of align with?
Yeah. It was, and the thing too is, like, it was an agency that was very blanketed. What I mean by that is, like, they weren't even specialized in the physical therapy space.
Yeah.
Like, their messaging was so far off from ours and like our ideal clients that it was just garbage leads across the board. And we know to be able to attract the ideal patient, you need to be able to speak to those people. That's the thing too, is like, this agency you're hiring has very little understanding of your business. And so they just pull these templates out of their ass and expect and hope that they work, right? And so I think that's also something that I just ran into, is they just don't know our practice and the ideal patient. So yeah, they got us leads, and that's where they always promise, I'm going to get X amount of leads. Well, yeah, they got us that, but how many of those actually came in? 0. Yeah. So so that's the thing too, is like, it was expensive for where I was at in the business. Like, it was a big chunk of our overall revenue. It just didn't make sense. So I guess that's my question for you, is like, when does it make sense to outsource your ads?
Really good question. So when running Facebook ads is extremely simple when you're spending less than $3,000 to $5,000 a month on your ads. I would even argue if you're spending less than $10,000 a month, it is insanely easy to run your own Facebook ads. But it starts to make more sense to hire an agency when have that high ad budget, because a higher ad budget means that you need more ad creatives and you need more ad copy to be able to basically keep the ads that your audience is seeing, keeping what they see it fresh. Because if you only have one ad and you're spending $3,000, well, you're going to have your entire community see that one ad a dozen times, and it's going to get ignored because they've seen it before. And so it doesn't make sense to hand off your ads until you are operating at a scale where you don't even have the time to come up with the creatives and write the ad copy. Okay. And so that's when you really want to hand it off. So when we see, like, our clients, because we teach them how to do this stuff and they do it themselves, but once they start to get to $50,000, $60,000 per month within their practice, which we're able to help get them to very, very quickly because we're using Facebook ads. Once they're getting to that point, that's when they're starting to be more open to handing the system off. But now it's from a very different position, because once you have a system that already works, delegating it to an agency or what most of our people do, delegating it to someone in-house becomes less about trusting whether or not they know what is they're talking about and just handing them an SOP and saying, don't break this thing that I've already built. So it's much, much easier to hand off and delegate once you're operating at the level, because you're handing them a system that already works. So you don't have to trust them to know how to think strategically. They just have to know how to run the machine that you created. And so that's when we're starting to see people hand this off, when editing and content creation becomes the bottleneck.
Yeah, I agree with that. And that's what we've been seeing, what we've been coaching as well. Yeah, I mean, just going back to it, we were spending $2,500 a month on an agency when we were generating $15,000 per month. So it's just such a big chunk, and I just see so many people kind of fall into that trap with things. But and then also I want to also talk about hey, should you be trying to figure out how to do ads on your own? The other side of the coin, saying not to work with the agency, then people are well, how do I go about doing it then, right? So what would you say to people that are trying to figure it out on their own, and what would you recommend to people?
That the biggest thing is that running your own Facebook ads, and I'm talking Facebook ads that are producing at least $10,000 per month at a 5x return on that ad spend or higher. So we're talking spending $1,500 a month or so. You can easily be producing more than $10,000 a month. Managing that system takes our clients less than an hour a week to be able to do that. And so first, it's overcoming the fear of running Facebook ads, because for the last 10, 20 years, the narrative online is that Facebook ads are extremely complicated, that you don't want to try to do it yourself. You want to hire an agency. And that narrative has been pushed by the agencies who don't want you to run it by yourself. And over the years, Facebook has made it their mission to make it easier and easier and easier for people who aren't tech whizzes or advertising geniuses to be able to run profitable ads on their system. And so today, setting up your own ads and split testing a bunch of different things is as easy as just a couple of clicks. So Facebook has made it insanely simple to run your own highly profitable ads yourself. But that doesn't mean you should just go and try to set up your own campaign, because there are countless different types of businesses and models and products that Facebook advertising is built to be able to accommodate, which means being a cash physical therapist, we're very, very niche. And there's a million ways to run a Facebook ad, but there's only a couple ways that actually work really, really well. And so I wouldn't recommend anyone just go and experiment with whatever training they can find on YouTube and try to do it themselves. That's going to be an expensive and long-winded trial and error process. What you want to do is find someone who does work in the physical therapy industry. And there's a few of us that run Facebook ads for physical therapists. You want to learn from someone who already knows what works that attracts cash-paying patients into your clinic, and follow those strategies. Because even ads that you run for a insurance-based clinic compared to a cash-based clinic are still incredibly different, not just in the campaign structure and the setup, but how you actually how you fulfill and make that system work on the back end. Because the truth is, running Facebook ads is insanely simple. Anybody can do it, and you can be successful with a lot of different strategies, but it's what happens on the other side of the Facebook ad post opt-in that really makes a difference and determines whether that campaign is going to be profitable or not. So running your own Facebook ads, once you have the strategy, setting it up takes no more than an hour or two to get that all configured and set up. And then managing it and keeping it healthy is literally an hour, maybe two each and every week to be producing multiple 5 figures a month from those Facebook ads. And so first, realize it's the narrative that Facebook ads are really complicated. You got to be a tech whiz in order to be successful with them just isn't true. We have people who are terrified of running Facebook ads joining our program, who within the span of 60 days add an extra $10,000, $15,000 per month to their practice just from ads, and they're doing it all themselves. And once they know how to do it, they're not even interested in our done for you services, because they're why would I pay $1,500 to $2,000 a month for something that only takes me maybe an hour every single week?
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up the tech thing. I'm pretty sure I know we've worked with people that struggled with texting barely even know how to text that were able to set up their Facebook ads. So
yeah, we had a gentleman who was 82 go through this and run and implement and set up this entire process successfully himself. I can't tell you how many people have entered our program where we teach you how to set up your ads. We manage them together, very similar to like your clinical rotations, where it's like we set everything up together, but then every single week we just meet to take a look at what's going on and then teach you, here's what these numbers mean and here's what you need to do about it. Because Facebook gives you all these different metrics, but the reality is most of them are just vanity metrics. They don't mean anything. There's only a couple numbers that you actually got to pay attention to. And once you know what those are, it's really obvious what it is you need to fix. Do I need a new creative? Do I need to edit the landing page? Okay, there's only a couple things that you got to tweak for the ads. Now, if you're getting good quality, like cost per leads, then if they're not converting, now you have a sales and operational issue. Now we just got to work through that. And that's where your genius comes in, Ben. Because when we started the coaching, ad coaching model, we were the first ones to do it. We did this during COVID because all of our agency clients could no longer afford an agency. And so our whole business was shut down. And so what we decided to do instead was for the clients who were still open, but were struggling to get patients in the door to keep their businesses afloat, we decided, screw it. We'll just teach you all how to do this stuff for free because we know how easy it is. And then those people got massive results doing it themselves because A, it's easy, and B, they have the time and the desire and the motivation to really do it well that agencies just don't have, especially at a price point that's less than $3,000 a month. And so they were getting crazy results. And that was when the whole done for you coaching model within the physical therapy space really started to explode. And we're one of the first people out there to be teaching this stuff because it's easy. And once you realize how easy it is, you never want to go back.
Right. Yeah. And you brought this point up a little bit ago. It's like, I think the Facebook ads portion is very easy. The follow-up and understanding how to go about that is the difficult piece. And that's where I think the lowest hanging fruit is the follow-up. And I think Facebook ads is easy, but the follow-up, that's where it gets very intricate and not complicated, but there's a lot of things that you need to do to really optimize those ads and leads.
And honestly, I think that's one of the most powerful things that Facebook actually offers. It's not just like a steady flow of patients. Because yes, it absolutely does that. But before it becomes this true like patient generating machine, you have to pump strangers through the systems of your practice. Now, most of you, if you haven't ran Facebook ads, all of your systems and your operations are designed around people who have been referred to you or have already done their research and decided they want to work with you. And so the people who are entering your business, they're already sold. And so the experience that you're creating doesn't have to be that good. And so a lot of practice owners, they're kind of lulled into this false sense of security that their operations are so good. And then when they start running Facebook ads, they think Facebook ads don't work because they're unable to get these people to convert, not realizing it's like your operations and your patient experience really isn't nearly as good as you think it is. And so one of the coolest values of Facebook ads is the journey going from like where you are to having the super profitable Facebook ads, because we see once we drive cold traffic, people who haven't heard of you, don't know who you are, and haven't tried physical therapy before, and certainly never paid cash before. Pumping those types of people through your current operations is going to be a really humbling experience. We're going to realize like very quickly where we're actually really, really strong and where our operations, our systems are really weak. And then getting to like go through each one of those operations one by one and optimizing those so that they're so good that even a complete stranger is like, hell yeah, take my money. I want to work with you guys. Like that journey is really, really exciting. And it's what creates the foundation to be able to grow as quickly as you did, Ben, or as quickly as dozens of our clients who went from doing less than $20,000 a month and never being able to go beyond that to now a year later doing $60,000, $70,000, $80,000, $90,000 a month in their practice because they went through the discomfort of running Facebook ads, having to reorganize and restructure their operations to make their patient experience better. But now they have this bulletproof foundation where now they can scale like crazy because they're getting more referrals, they're getting more reviews, they're getting more exposure within their community. And now they're able to scale the crap out of their ads, feeling confident that these leads are actually going to convert. And so most of the time, you don't have a lead problem. Okay, fixing leads is pretty easy. You have a sales problem. You have a lead nurturing problem. And that's fixing those things is where a lot of the magic and a lot of the fun actually comes from.
Yeah, it makes your practice so much better. Like if you can make it a great experience and pump cold traffic through your practice and have them happy, like your patients that are being referred and your warm traffic are just going to be ecstatic. It just levels everything up.
Right. You think you're good at sales? Nah, you're really just an order taker. Until you're able to talk to a complete stranger who doesn't know what physical therapy actually is and convince them to give you $2,000, you're not good at sales. You haven't done real sales. And the cool part about, and this is for another podcast, but like when people hear sales, they cringe a little bit, but it's like being able to sell to a perfect stranger isn't about being a good salesperson. It's about creating an excellent experience, which is ultimately what marketing is. Marketing is just the client experience piece. And if you can get the client experience piece good enough, it sells the services for you so that you don't have to work hard. That's why people who go through our process and our marketing accelerator, they learn how to run ads, but then they learn how to create a world-class onboarding, patient experience, and first impression during the evaluation that they don't have to work hard to sell 10 packs or 16 packs and get people to pay up front. We're not teaching them how to become world-class salespeople who can go and sell $5,000 and $10,000 things. We're teaching them how to set up a pipeline of a steady stream of qualified people through their door and create such a great experience where they don't really have to work hard to sell. The experience sells itself.
Yeah, no, spot on. And that's where I think the lowest hanging fruit is for everybody when it comes to being profitable in Facebook ads. It's not the Facebook ads themselves. It's the ability to sell to cold traffic and across the board. So
yeah, we got some comments. Yeah, I think so too. So running your own Facebook ads is insanely simple. And the reality is the people that we've taught this stuff to, the clients who have ran our system, our Facebook ad system in-house themselves after we taught them how to do it. And I don't mean just like giving them a curriculum and a course modules. I mean actually setting them up together, managing them together week by week for 3 months. The people who have gone through that system and have continued to work with us, they've averaged $198,000 collected from their Facebook ads at a 6x return on their ad spend. Okay, that same group on average joined us doing just shy of $10,000 a month, and now 12 months later are averaging $37,000 a month within their practice. Now they're not spending their weekends doing networking. They're not working nights. They have more work-life balance than ever before because they have the steady stream of income coming into the business. They have better operations, so they have to work less hard during the day to fulfill on everything. And because of this, they're able to, when they do networking and workshops, they're doing it because they want to, not because they have to, which is causing those efforts to be more profitable because the people that they're networking with can sense that they're not desperate. And so they've, in many cases, they've actually seen many of their ads before. So it's opening a lot of doors. So running your own Facebook ads, it's fast, it's easy. You just need someone to show you how to do it. Once you know how to do it, you're going to be laugh at the fact that you ever hired someone to do it, and you'll be a little bit upset over how much you paid for how little you got whenever you work with an agency when you're spending less than $3,000 a month to work with them.
Yeah, I know I was upset when I dove into the back end of things. Like this was paying $2,500 for per month, and also I realized like why it wasn't working too. It's just like you just realize you just got played. So
right. What's crazy is there's one really popular name that a lot of people come to us from who locks people into a 12-month contract, and it's $5,000 a month. And so, all they're doing is running basic lead gen ads to sign up for a workshop, and the show up rates are abysmal. The sales on them are low. And I've met very, very few people who actually got a positive ROI on the experience, and they spent $60,000 on this thing. So just what people are charging isn't an indication of the quality of what it is that they're doing. What really creates profits and consistent returns in Facebook ads is attention, consistently taking care of that campaign. Agencies don't do that. Agencies are set up to only deal with you when you are basically making noise. But if you aren't asking them what they're doing and making consistent iterations and communicating with them, they just set it and forget it, because it makes a lot more economic sense for the business to do that. And that's why when people start running ads themselves, 1 hour a week, all they do is go in there and they freshen up, add in a new creative. And that's really all you have to do to keep them healthy and to keep them pumping. It's kind of like a house plant. It's like, it's really easy. You just got to water it once a week and you're good. If that. We have some people who don't do anything. They only spend like an hour every 2 weeks. So it's crazy how simple it actually is. And your whole world kind of opens up once you learn this skill, because now you have a skill set to produce cash flow in your business for the rest of your life. And that is a powerful position to be operating from.
Yeah. It allows you to sleep much better at night. Speak from experience on that and whatnot. So,
right.
So if you're listening, like, don't avoid the trap that I fell into. Don't hire an agency. You guys can learn how to do this as well. But you also need to make sure that your follow-up systems, that's where you need the most help with, is the follow-up process, lead generation, lead nurturing, and then the sales process too. So
being a successful business owner is always entirely about holding the most amount of leverage you possibly can. Okay, that's why we recommend, especially everyone who's starting their practice, learn how to run Facebook ads, because you're able to kickstart your practice much, much faster, where you don't, while, it takes a while to build relationships in your local community, you can have cash flow coming in while you build and nurture those relationships. And if you learn it yourself, you not only get to develop a skill that is going to put food on your table for the rest of your life, but you also get to build up the system and know how it works, so that when you delegate it to someone else eventually, you can do so from a position of authority where you can really figure out, does this person actually know what they're talking about? And you're able to trust them more, because it's not about like, do I trust that they know how to run Facebook ads and they know the right strategy for my population? And it's just like, hey, here's a system that already works. Here's how I take care of it every week. You take care of it now. And so because it's so simple, most of our people are having their admins take care of it, or someone in their family or their spouse running their ad, because it's so freaking easy. And so they don't have to pay that massive agency retainer. So start off learning it yourself. You'd be amazed at what you can accomplish in 90 days if you work with the right person. If you want to work with us, comment below, scan this QR code and book a call so we can talk to see if the way that we coach people and the way that we work together aligns with where you're at and where it is you're trying to go. And we'll teach you, here's what works to run your own Facebook ads. Here's how you can add upwards of $10,000 per month to your practice for an hour of effort every single week, and then how to eventually hand it off once it is a profitable patient generating machine, how to turn it into an SOP and delegate it in-house where you don't have to pay the big agency fees, and the person who's going to be working on it is actually going to be working on it every single week versus just setting it and forgetting it like what most agencies do. So that's what I would recommend. Going the done for you route sounds great, because it's like, all right, I can just focus on doing what I do in the practice the best, which is seeing the patients, but you're really going to delegate the most important part of your entire business, because it doesn't matter how good you are at being a physical therapist or how great your clinical skills are if you can't get anyone in the door. And you're going to trust someone that you're paying $1,000 a month or $1,500 a month or $2,500 a month to be solely responsible for the growth rate and the trajectory of your business and your life and your dreams. Come on.
Yep. That's fine.
Awesome, everybody. If you would like to book a demo call with us so we can see what our process looks like, how it is we help people, what our unique philosophy around scaling cash practices is, scan this QR code, book a call with us. You can also do so at clinicalmarketer.com. We're very particular about who it is that we work with, because we have incredible success rates and we don't want those to go down. We guarantee that if you work with us, our system will produce an additional $30,000 within 90 days because we have this so dialed in. We're able to make that guarantee. So it doesn't make sense for us to try to sell you into this program unless we know that we can hit that guarantee for you. Otherwise, we're going to be working with you forever, indefinitely, for free until we hit that $30,000 mark, which doesn't make any sense for any of us. So book this call. We'll assess where you're at, where you're trying to go. We'll break down the way that we coach people and the time commitment that it's going to require to get where you're trying to go. And we'll just have an open and honest conversation. And if it makes sense to talk about what those programs look like, we'll walk you through it. If not, we have so many free resources and trainings and curriculums that we can send you to get you over the next hump that you have, to put you in a better position where maybe it makes more sense to work with us down the road in some of our paid programs. So everybody, thanks for listening. If you got value out of this, don't forget to like and subscribe to the podcast. Have a good day, everyone. Thanks for listening.